I guess let's start with an introduction here. We got Harrison Simons from the Executive Board and Reverend Vernon Lowe. You're the first president of the club.
Yes, sir.
Correct.
I guess to start with, Mr. Simons and Reverend Lowe, just tell us about how you first got involved in Ocean View, how you first started coming up here.
Well, I'll let the preacher start first since he is my senior, and I will fill in the gaps.
All right, sir.
All right, you want me to take that? Well, years ago when I was a young man, I was actively involved with my brothers and others. One particular person, Herman Santucci and Percy Vincent, Lou DeRosa, and I could go on. And we used to play golf up near Horseshoe Beach. We organized and developed our own golf course. And so eventually, with the ability of those who played in them days was caddy golf, Herman Santucci was one of the outstanding golfers. He shot 60 at Riddles Bay Golf and Country Club at a par of 72. And so he was very instrumental in encouraging us to get involved with the game of golf. And so under the organization of Mr. Place, I'm trying to think his first name.
Place.
What was the Place, the first name?
Brunlow, A.B. Place, Brunlow.
A.B. Place, which he is still alive and 101 years old, they tell me. I'm looking forward to seeing him very shortly. And he, along with a group of other young men, organized the Ocean View without any golf course. And then they presented the program to Mr. Edmund Gibbons, and along with others at that time who were active in the field of golf. And I used to work for Mr. Gibbons, so we used to have a lot of conversation about what was needed in reference to encouraging people to play golf and having a place to play. So I think it was Mr. Gibbons and others who organized a company of persons, of people, and they got together and they got this property here where we sit now, and they developed and got a 9-hole golf course which is named Ocean View. And so Mr. Place was the first president in the organization of the golf course, and I was the first president in the operation of the golf course. And so my brothers and others, several of us who were interested in golf, used to get down on the hands and knees and pull up all the sage bushes so we would have a fairway to play golf in until it was constructed, and then we, with pride, decided to formulate a golf organization, and here we are.
The rest is history. At the time, well, first of all, I mean, what time in Bermuda history are you talking about?
Back in, let me see, that would have to be late 30s, early 40s.
And can you speak to the conditions of the time? Obviously, Bermuda at that time was a segregated society, and that.
Well, I can give you something very interesting about that. It's because of the capability of golfers that we had, and as colored people, we were complaining about not being able to play the other courses without going down there first thing in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning to play. So after we got organized and we started playing here, I used to write a column from the Amy Recorder, black paper, and it was called
Up and down the fairway?
Up and Down the, thank you, Up and Down the Fairway.
Up and down the fairway?
Yep. And so Governor Hood at that time was very interested in reading my column every Saturday. And he invited me to Government House, and we sat down, had tea together, and we discussed about the privilege of bringing together the races in the island of Bermuda. I informed him that Bermuda was too small to have such a division of the races. And so he in turn decided that he gave me a huge cup, and it's now still being played for, called the Governor's Cup, and presented it to me. He said, I hope this is a way of bringing together the races, and so it did help in some aspect. Ocean View played mid-ocean, and we on this course, and as of recent now, beyond my years, they went also to play at mid-ocean. So it did bring about some change in the environment of the Bermuda Gulf Association. But a lot is needed. Today, Bermuda is in a position where it can afford to bring about some of the outstanding golfers to the island of Bermuda. I have always advocated, since they used to bring down the 4 top-notch golfers of winning all of the major tournaments, and now it has left Bermuda. I think it's gone back to Hawaii, and now Bermuda is left without any type of representation, and it has been acknowledged all over the whole world, so it's not a strange little island. I was looking the other day, even in Aruba, they had golf professionals coming there to play golf. And so I contend that if they would write the LPGA and American Golf Association, that they could also invite and maybe possibly bring the lady golfers to the island of Bermuda, and it would be a tremendous opportunity for the merchants and for the hotels, and also increase jobs for people here in the island of Bermuda, because they have a contingent of about I guess 120 lady golfers, and coming with them would also be the family. And Bermuda, with its excitement of environment and the beautiful climate here, I'm certain it would be a blessing to all of the island of Bermuda.
Now the Governor's Cup came about in 1964. How has the course changed since? Obviously that's a considerable length of time.
Oh, well, in them days we didn't have a golf course like it is now. We had a sort of made-up golf course, cut across the hill and pull up the beads, and that would be a hole, and go somewhere else and find some more space. But since then, under the auspices of, I forgot the man's name, who was the construction at that time to bring about, and I think Mr. Edmund Gibbons and other people in the political world, they had the opportunity of getting this property to have a 9-hole golf course. But I want to say this: they have made Port Royal the #1 golf course in the island for bringing in professional golfers, and this is a sister club to Port Royal, and it would be a blessing for those who come down just for tune-ups. And we have a lot of other people of color who want to come to the island, and Port Royal is too expensive for them to play. I observe and I watch the Bermuda tourism in New York, and it's so minimum. They need to recognize, because people couldn't afford to pay the green fee at Port Royal, and this is a minimum fee of about 60. It's going up to 60 now.
$50.
All right, I was 10 over. That even makes a much more blessing. But other folk want to come to the island, and that's the reason why now you have all of these mega ships coming down here, and they can afford to play golf. They go to the various beaches. But if you want to increase the golf, golf game in the Bermuda, you have to make it reasonable for other people of color and people of less means to come to visit the island. They have somewhere to play. And with all the capabilities, I look around, I see the pro and the other pro here, associate pros, they could be a blessing, because Bermuda has some of the most outstanding golfers in the world. I can testify to that because I was one of them along with my co-president here. Amen?
Amen.
Thank you. I just want to hear your voice.
I guess the same, Mr. Simons. Tell us a bit about how you came to be golfing here, how it's changed over the time that you've been golfing here.
Well, I got involved probably in 1964, 65. And at that time, in my involvement, this was really not a golf course. This was run by the British garrison. They used this here as a golf course. But we members of Ocean View, there was a group of men, there was 25, 27, that formed an executive group. When the former president approached the governor about us having this golf course, Bermuda was in a very segregated place at the time, under the conditions that if we give you this property, will it be used for all people? All people meaning brown, yellow, black, and white. The response was yes. Hence, this golf course, or this property known as the Garrison Golf Course, was given to the Ocean View Golf Course. 25 men, as I mentioned, formed an executive committee. And we ran the golf course. We put money into the golf course. I can recall many times when we were perhaps, let's say number 4 now, which was number 8 then, you didn't know whether you could hit your second shot on your head or stand on your feet. Because many times there was a cow pasture.
That's right.
Men had their animals running all around the golf course, and hence this place was called then as the cow pasture. It was not really known. It was known as Ocean View, but nicknamed as cow pasture.
Nickname was cow pasture.
Cow pasture. But since that time, we stood with it. We worked hard, and when the governor agreed to give us this golf course, we all came here on many times on a Thursday afternoon or Saturday mornings and prepared greens so that anybody could play. And when that happened, Ocean View Golf Club was all running. We have produced some of the best golfers in Bermuda. We stand by that. Our record is 100%.
Do you think, given the significance of the course in Bermuda's social and sporting history, that perhaps it might be recognized with, I don't know, a plaque perhaps, or some kind of commemoration of what the significance of the course is?
Yes, I think so. It has been a desire of mine to put a plaque right over there in the parking lot where the 3 founders of the Ocean Golf Club, their names Reverend Erskine Simons, George Lowe, and Bill Pitt. They are basically the 3 founders of the Ocean Golf Club. And there's always been a desire of mine to put their names in the parking lot, because in this area where the clubhouse is standing now was the first golf club. And it was a wooden structure. And one day the wind was in the right place.
Somebody set
and
fire
somebody
to it.
set fire to it.
Oh, I see.
And we lost all the golf clubs we had, and the pounds, shillings, and pence that was there, and everything. It all went up in blaze.
That's right.
But we stood with it, and we were able to bounce back and come up with this facility.
May I inject something? I just want to let you know the quality of golfers we had here. We had Earl Anderson, Earl Lowe, George Lowe. Herman Santucci was #1 golfer in Bermuda. And several others that I cannot call by name, Woody Brinkman and Noel Clark, and a host of them. But years ago, the #1 golfer in the world was Horton Smith, who was just like Tiger Woods as of recent. And he came into the island of Bermuda, and looking around, he said, there's no one here to compete with me. So they invited him to play at Belmont, and at that time, Herman Santucci was one of the caddies. And to make a long story short, they didn't get to finish 9 holes, because when they got to the 8th hole, Horton Smith, the #1 golfer in the world, was 4 down to Herman Santucci. And they got to the 7th hole, which is a dog leg, and Herman, being the type of golfer he was and knew the course, he hit the ball across the trees, was a dog leg to your left. And knowing the course, he threw his hands up into the air, and his caddy pointed down like this. So Horton Smith, the #1 golfer in the world, said, what does this mean? He said, it means he's in front of the green. And he already was 4 down. He knew he would be 5 down in a short time. And he said to Herman, I will not play anymore because I will not be embarrassed. Now that's a story you won't read in any other paper, and probably a story that you won't hear from any other person but me, because I was there to witness it. And I think he also had the longest hole-in-one, I'd say, in the world. At that time, Belmont was a golf course designed the way similar to the way it is now, but they used to go to Longford Hill, and they had the second hole was a dog leg coming all the way back to Middle Road. You had to cross over the trees. He hit his drive over the trees, and the ball ended up in the hole. But he was a black caddy, and he had no recognition. So even in his death and his cherished memories, we're going to recognize the fact that he had that capability.